Black Maid's heartwarming marriage to homeless man revealed an amazing secret that transformed everything. In the heart of Atlanta, where city lights flickered like 1,000 dreams, Clara worked tirelessly as a maid. She scrubbed floors, dusted shelves, and polished silver for families who barely glanced at her but were more than willing to pay for her hard work. Underneath it all, she carried a weight heavier than any vacuum. She dragged the future of her 10-year-old daughter, Mia, constantly danced in her mind. Clara dreamed of better days, even as the world around her felt so unforgiving. One afternoon at the local shelter, Clara felt drawn to an unassuming figure, Tom, a gentle homeless veteran whose weary eyes spoke of stories left untold. There was something different about him, something that matched her own hopes and struggles. A connection sparked as they swapped stories of resilience over cups of lukewarm coffee. Clara smiled as she shared her dream for Mia, while Tom recounted tales laced with pain but also humor, a rich tapestry of memories against the vibrant backdrop of the shelter. As Clara and Tom's friendship blossomed, her heart began to dance along a path of unexpected romance. Yet, a shadow loomed over her society's whispers. What would her coworkers say? Would they judge her for loving a man whose life had spun so far off track? She wrestled with these fears even as she cherished the gentle affection building between them, a bright flame against her daily grind. Then tragedy struck. The shelter's funding faltered, threatening the precious resources that Clara and Tom had come to rely on. Clara's heart raced as she rallied community support. Neighbors, once strangers, came forth with donations, proving the unity in community. Yet as the burden of financial responsibility sank in, self-doubt clawed at Clara. Was she strong enough? Did she have the right priorities for Mia's future? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the walls of crisis seemed to enclose on Clara and Tom, a hidden talent emerged from him that had the power to shift everything. He was an extraordinary painter. Each brushstroke told a story, vivid and evocative, brimming with pain, hope, and passion. Clara gazed mesmerized as he transformed blank canvases into windows of emotions, igniting her belief in second chances and uncharted destinies. Yet, just when love felt like it could conquer all, an unexpected letter arrived, filled with secrets that could unravel everything they had built together. Questions became shadows overhead. What did success truly mean? Money, love, connection. Clara and Tom stood at the cusp of everything they dreamed of, but the unpredictable winds of fate threatened to blow it all away. Could they navigate the revelation that might tear them apart, or would it bring them closer together? A heart-stopping moment lingered in the air, and neither one of them realized just how much their lives would soon intertwine with their community, shaking the very foundation of their world. The morning sun rose lazily over Atlanta, its golden rays spilling onto the streets like the gratitude in Clara's heart. She sat knee to knee with Tom in the park while Mia played nearby, laughter spilling out into the cool air. Watching the two of them, Clara felt warmth melt away her worries, if only for a moment, but the weight of the letter remained. It sat heavy in her bag, a constant reminder of the secrets it promised to unravel. Tom had taken a second on the community mural since their last meeting, a project tied to the shelter's hopes of raising funds. While he painted, Clara found herself rehearsing how to bring up the letter. Each time she opened her mouth to speak, her fears stuffed down the words. "Mama! Look at me!" Mia called out, her voice light and joyful as she leaped over a patch of grass. Clara couldn't help but smile, but even Mia's innocence couldn't shield her from the storm brewing within. As Tom added depth to the mural with soft hues of blue and green, Clara felt her pulse quicken. His attention was so focused, each stroke a dance between his brush and the canvas. He was creating something beautiful, something meaningful. But beyond his art lay a deeper truth she feared would taint the brilliance of their moment. "Mia," she finally said, coaxing her daughter toward them, let us take a little break. I want to talk with Tom for a few minutes. Mia, buoyed by tiny bundles of energy, nodded eagerly and plopped down next to them, her curls bouncing. Clara took a breath, her heart beating loudly in her ears as she searched for the right words. Tom, there is something I need to tell you, she started, her voice shaky. Tom looked up from his work, his brow furrowed with curiosity. Everything okay, Clara? The question pulled at her heart. Was it okay? Would they still be okay once the truth came out? Before she could plunge deeper into her confession, the sound of applause erupted in the distance. The community center across the park had organized a small fair, filled with laughter, music, and the rhythm of people coming together. Clara glanced at Tom, his eyes sparkled with intrigue. Should we go check it out? He suggested, motioning toward the bustling crowd. At that moment, something in Clara shifted. Perhaps the fair could serve as a distraction from the turmoil that bound her. She took a leap of faith and nodded, wanting nothing more than to share moments of joy with him and Mia. As they weaved through the crowd, Clara felt a sense of belonging swell within her. Neighbors she had fought alongside were celebrating unity, laughter rippling through the air like a bomb. Tom engaged with passers-by, sharing snippets of his life, his art drawing people in. Clara felt pride swell in her chest as she watched them gather around him, laughter and warmth radiating from their small group. But just as the smiles reached their brightest, Clara spotted a familiar face from her workplace. A coworker she had hoped to avoid. The woman's expression froze on sighting them. A combination of disbelief and condescension flared momentarily. But Clara shook off the unease. She pressed deeper into the festivities, holding hands with both Tom and Mia, as laughter swirled around them. It felt like a perfect moment filled with everything she had longed for. Yet the letter, now crumpled against her side, reminded her of the realities lurking in the shadows. How long could she keep this secret? And what would happen when it finally made itself known? The warmth of the day brought smiles, yet an undercurrent of tension trailed just below the surface. Soon, they reached a booth offering free canvas and paint. Tom's eyes widened with inspiration, and before Clara could stop him, he was leading Mia to join in on the fun. As each stroke of paint filled the canvas, Clara felt light ebb and flow with every laugh shared around her, but as the sun began to dip below the horizon, radiating colors like the palette Tom wielded, Clara realized she was running out of time. Secrets have a way of surfacing, and soon, theirs might stand naked against the world. She caught Tom's gaze once more, lost in the joy of the moment, and knew her heart would never let him go. But what would happen when love faced an untamed truth? As the festival began to die down, Clara took a breath deep enough to steady herself. It was now or never. Tom, she began again, her stomach churning with unexpected fear, we need to talk. The crowd faded into a low hum around them, and Clara couldn't shake the feeling that the truth was about to change everything forever. Clara's heart pounded as Tom's expression shifted from curiosity to concern. She could see him processing her words, and for a brief moment, an unspoken understanding passed between them. It didn't feel like the right moment, but it was the perfect time, wasn't it? Mama, what's wrong? Mia asked, her innocent eyes wide as she looked between them. The joy of the festival melted away like ice cream on a summer day. Clara knelt down, smoothing back her daughter's hair, forcing a smile that felt more like a mask than a reflection of her heart. Nothing's wrong, sweet pea. Just important chat. Tom reached out, placing a comforting hand on Clara's shoulder. Take your time, he said softly, his voice steady and reassuring. But the weight of his warmth felt like a reminder of everything that could change. Looking around, Clara noticed families still celebrating, the vibrant lights of the fair flickering like hopes in the night. But her focus was on Tom. She had to protect him from the truth, yet at the same time, every heartbeat screamed at her to confess. She inhaled deeply, grounding herself against the chaos of her emotions. Tom, there is something you don't know about me. Something from before I moved here. He nodded, his genuine interest easing some of her tension. I'm all ears. Mia's fingers found the edge of a nearby canvas, and she began to doodle absent-mindedly. Clara's heart twisted at the idea of her daughter carrying the weight of her secrets. A few years back, I was in a different place, Clara began, her voice trembling. I worked a good job, had a stable life. But that all vanished when I lost someone. She paused, building the courage to plunge into the depths of her past. The smile on Mia's face faded slightly, detecting the shift in her mother's tone. It's just hard to say. I had to leave everything behind, my family, my job, even my dreams. Did something happen? Tom asked, his brow furrowing in concern. You don't have to share if it's too much. No, I need to. But I'm scared of what you'll think. My life hasn't been perfect, Tom. I took a path that led me here, that led me to you, and Mia's laughter rang out unexpectedly, pulling Clara from her thoughts. She glanced at her daughter, who waved her little arms, pale streaks of paint on her cheek. Look, Mama. I made a rainbow. The innocence of her daughter's joy sparked a light in Clara's heart. Yes, sweetheart, it's beautiful. Clara forced her mind back to Tom, a surge of determination washing over her. The job I had, it exposed me to things I never thought I'd see. I was fighting for people, for justice, but I lost myself in it. Clara. Tom started gently, but she pressed on, not giving herself the chance to backtrack. I received a letter last week. An unexpected letter. Her voice cracked, and she fought the tears welling in her eyes. It held secrets of the past that I thought were buried. Tom's expression shifted, a mix of confusion and concern swirling together. What kind of secrets? Clara hesitated, sadness blooming in her chest. The truth felt like shards of glass under her skin. Environmental abuse, personal betrayals. And I didn't just fight, I was deep in it, a part of it. The remorse of past choices tightened her throat, but the need to come clean loomed larger. Mama? Mia's small voice broke the tension, tugging Clara back to the present. Can we paint one more thing together? Tom looked between them, realization dawning. You're worried how I'll see you, aren't you? With the carnival lights twinkling around them, Clara's breath hitched. But what if the truth changes everything? Tom's hand slid down to grasp hers. Nothing can change how much I care about you or the life we're building together. As she stood there, the resolve to bridge the gap between her past and future swelled in her chest. But Clara couldn't forget the letter, the possible consequences of its revelation. Okay, then, Clara breathed, drawing her courage closer, let me show you. Before she could reveal the truth, a loud shout erupted near the booth where they just painted. Chaos danced around them, and a surge of people rushed into the space. What is going on? Clara wondered aloud, but before Tom could answer, the lights flickered violently, and suddenly, the laughter turned to screams. Clara's heart dropped. The fair, once a place of joy, was now a breeding ground for panic. Her hand tightened around Tom's as they rushed to find Mia. Clara knew then that whatever secret lay ahead, it would have to wait. The night was spiraling out of control, and clarity was about to be put to the ultimate test. What awaited them in the chaos? Clara's heart raced as dread mixed with urgency. She needed to protect the life they were building, but could anything remain unbroken after tonight? Clara's breath quickened as she felt the panic rising around her. The vibrant energy of the fair had shifted, and now, it felt menacing and chaotic. The once colorful lights blinked ominously and the merry laughter was replaced with cries that sent chills down her spine. Stick close to me. Tom yelled, his voice barely cutting through the mounting noise. Clara nodded, squeezing his hand tighter. They needed to find Mia. Where could she be? Clara scanned the crowd, her heart hammering against her ribs. Pushing past the throngs of people, she desperately searched for the familiar pink dress Mia had worn. Time felt suspended, every second stretched into eternity. Clara's chest tightened at the thought of losing her daughter. Mia. Clara shouted, her voice breaking. "Sweetheart, where are you?" "Over here," came a small, terrified voice from a few yards away, just as the crowd surged. Clara's instincts kicked in as she pulled Tom with her, weaving through bodies, past frightened faces. Relief flooded her as she caught sight of Mia, who stood frozen, clutching her painting canvas, wide-eyed and terrified. A man nearby was shouting angrily, but Clara couldn't focus on that. She ran toward Mia, moving with urgency that shot adrenaline through her veins. "Mama!" Mia cried, tears streaming down her cheeks. Clara knelt and enveloped her in a fierce hug. "I'm here, baby. I've got you," Clara whispered, her own heart calming slightly only as she held her daughter tight. Tom lowered himself beside them, his presence a reassuring anchor. "You're safe now," he murmured. The fear in Mia's eyes began to fade, replaced by trust. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the direction of the roller coaster. Clara turned sharply, her instincts telling her they needed to get away from the chaos. "We need to move," she said urgently. But just as they stood, the lights overhead flickered once more, only to go out completely. A collective gasp swept through the crowd, followed by panic as people began to rush in every direction, desperate for safety. Clara's protective nature ignited. "Follow me," Clara said, taking Mia's hand and looking into Tom's concerned eyes. Together they started toward the exit, but it felt as if the very world around them was collapsing. As they maneuvered through the haphazard crowd, Clara thought of the letter, of the secrets it contained. The urgency of the moment stripped away any thoughts of confession. What she wanted to tell Tom suddenly felt trivial compared to the safety of their family. "Don't look back," Tom shouted, and Clara instinctively tightened her grip on Mia's little hand. They were almost to the edge of the chaos, where the lights began to flicker back on. They burst into a pocket of open space, and before they could catch their breath, a voice boomed from the center of the fairgrounds. "Everyone, please stay calm. There's been an incident, but there's no reason to panic." Clara's heart sank as she recognized the voice. The fair manager was trying to restore order, but desperation dripped from every word. "Mama, I'm scared," Mia whispered, her tiny voice trembling. Clara knelt to her level, looking deep into her daughter's eyes. "I know, sweet pea, but we'll get through this together, okay? Just keep holding my hand." Suddenly, Clara's gaze met Tom's. In the glow of the lights returning, they both shared a moment that whispered of unspoken thoughts: fear, love, connection. Yet time stood still as the implications of the night loomed over them. From behind, a loud crash reverberated through the air, startling everyone. A commotion erupted as people turned to see what was happening. Clara's heart raced anew. "Did you see that?" someone shouted. "They're trying to escape." A wave of uncertainty washed over the crowd, turning whispers into shouts of concern and confusion. What now? The festival was turning into something far darker. Clara felt dread pool in her stomach. Would they be safe? Would she ever tell Tom the truth? As the chaos continued, Clara wondered if darkness was creeping back into her life again. Did she really have the strength to face the past and shape their future? With Tom by her side and Mia's small hand clutched tightly, she realized one thing: they needed to survive this night, no matter the cost. But as Clara's heart gripped tighter with fear, she couldn't help but feel that this chaos was also a catalyst. A moment to redefine their lives entwined. Was this the beginning of an end, or could it be the start of something entirely new? The weight of possibility hung in the air as they braced for what came next. The crowd surged, an ocean of panic crashing against Clara's fragile resolve. She could feel the warmth of Mia's small hand slip slightly, and the fear of losing her again sent a jolt of panic through her. Clara bent low, her eyes sweeping the area. There were so many faces, a chaotic mix of fear, confusion, and determination. "Stay close," Tom yelled again, his voice cutting through the chaos. Clara nodded, urging Mia to press against her, to stay as small and protected as possible. Together, they weaved through the crowd, heading towards a flickering exit sign off in the distance. A shriek reverberated through the air, and her heart jumped. Clara's throat felt tight. "It'll be okay," she whispered more to herself than to her daughter, who looked up at her with wide, terrified eyes. Every fiber of Clara's being screamed to protect her family. As they reached the exit, the door swung open to a shadowy alley behind the fairgrounds. Somewhere in the darkness, sirens wailed ominously. The thriving night had transformed into a landscape filled with unseen dangers. Her instincts pushed her forward. "This way, come on." "Mama, I'm scared." Mia's voice quivered as they stepped outside. "I know, honey. Just hold my hand," Clara murmured, keeping her tone calm. "We're going to be okay." Just as they stepped into the dim alley, Tom suddenly pulled them to a stop. "Wait," he hissed, looking back toward the fairgrounds where shadows flickered. "Something is happening." Clara followed his gaze and saw a group of fair workers hastily gathering, their voices anxious and urgent. One of them was pointing towards a far corner of the main area. Whatever was happening, it wasn't over yet. "What do we do?" Tom asked, a furrow of worry etched on his brow. "We can't just stay here," Clara replied, resolved. "We need to find somewhere safe." They spotted an old, abandoned food truck that looked like it hadn't moved in years. "Over there," she urged, leading the way. It wasn't much, but it offered a glimmer of shelter among the chaos, a haven from the storm. As they ducked inside, Clara pulled Mia close. Taking a deep breath, she tried to steady her racing heart. "Let's just stay quiet for a minute. We'll figure this out," she murmured, her voice soothing as she stroked Mia's hair gently. Tom peered through a grimy window, his profile tense. "This isn't just a power outage, Clara. Something is seriously wrong. Maybe someone got hurt." The realization hit Clara like a punch. The whispers of a dark past clawed at her, the secrets bound within her, now suffocated in the haze of anxiety. She started, hesitating. Could she share with him the truth she had kept hidden for so long? "Mama?" Mia's small voice broke through her thoughts, reminding Clara of her priority. Protecting her daughter had to come first, but what if that meant keeping the truth from Tom forever? "I'm right here, sweetie," Clara choked out, forcing her attention back to the present. She couldn't let fear take hold. Not now. Outside, the sounds of the crowd were still frantic, but a new chorus of raised voices pierced the air. "They're pushing back. We need to hold them." "What is happening?" Tom whispered, turning to Clara with desperation mixing with determination in his eyes. Clara swallowed hard, a tremor of uncertainty cascading through her. The weight of impending danger pressed in around them, but so did the weight of her unspoken truths. She could almost hear the voice of her past whispering a reminder that sometimes, in order to move forward, you had to confront what was behind you. As the chaos swelled outside and the screaming voices drew closer, Clara made a decision. "Tom, I need to tell you something," she breathed, but before she could finish, a loud bang echoed from the food truck, jolting them. Clara's heart raced, and she felt Mia grip her hand tighter. "What was that?" Tom asked, his voice a tense whisper. In that moment, Clara realized that the night was just beginning, and they were all tangled in a web of secrets waiting to unravel. Would the truth set them free, or would it ensnare them further? The air thickened with a new tension, and as Clara braced herself for what lay ahead, she knew that whatever happened next would change everything. Would they face it together, or would the shadows from their past pull them apart? A low scratching noise began to emanate from the back of the truck. Clara held her breath, realizing that this night wasn't just about survival, it was about revelations lurking just beneath the surface, ready to expose what was hidden. What awaited them in the dark? The scratching grew louder, a frantic rasp that sent chills down Clara's spine. She bit her lip, eyes darting between Tom's worried expression and Mia's frightened face. Every instinct screamed for them to stay silent, but the tension wrapped around them like a suffocating blanket. Tom leaned closer to the back of the truck, trying to peer through a cracked window. What if it's just an animal? He said, though even he seemed uncertain. Or something worse, Clara whispered, her heart pounding in her chest. She could feel the weight of the unspoken truths pressing against her, clashing with the urgency of the moment. Mia tugged at her sleeve, her voice barely audible. "Mama, I'm scared." Clara knelt to Mia's level, her own fear reflected in her daughter's wide eyes. "I know, baby. Just remember, I'm here. We'll get through this." As she spoke, she wanted to believe it as much for herself as she did for Mia. The scratching stopped abruptly, leaving a suffocating silence punctuated only by the distant wails of sirens. Tom took a deep breath, pushing his weight against the truck's door, ready to brace for whatever came next. "Should I look?" Before Clara could answer, the door creaked open. A figure stumbled inside, silhouetted against the dim light filtering through the grime. Clara's breath caught in her throat as she took a step back, her instincts screaming at her to protect Mia. Tom reacted faster, shoving the figure back out into the darkness, but not before Clara caught a glimpse of a face that felt hauntingly familiar. "No, it couldn't be. Mama!" Mia cried, clinging to Clara as the darkness seemed to close in around them. "Tom," Clara said urgently, "wait. Let them in." Tom hesitated, confusion tearing across his features. "Are you sure?" Before she could explain, the figure stepped forward again, emerging from the shadows into the broken light. It was a woman, disheveled but unmistakable. "Clara?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "It's me. It's a nightmare out there. You need to let me in." Clara's heart raced, caught between disbelief and an overwhelming wave of emotions. "Sarah?" she managed, the name a stranger on her tongue. It had been years since she last saw her childhood friend, now scrapped against the specter of her past. "Please, I've nowhere else to go," Sarah gasped, eyes wide with fear. Tom stepped back, allowing Sarah into the truck, but Clara stood frozen, memories flooding her mind. The laughter shared, the secrets kept, the dangerous roads taken. "What are you doing here?" Clara finally breathed, unable to mask the mix of anger and concern in her voice. "I heard the commotion. I had to come back." "They're looking for me," Sarah replied, panic edging into her tone. "You don't understand, Clara. They think I know something." Clara's mind raced, a knot forming in her stomach. Why was Sarah here? What trouble had followed her? A lifetime of buried memories roared to the surface, and she realized the stakes had risen dramatically. "What did you get mixed up in?" "It doesn't matter now," Sarah insisted, desperation lining her words. I just need to keep you and Mia safe." But Clara could feel walls closing in, repressed memories whispering warnings. Trust was a dangerous game. Yet, deep down, she felt torn. Could she really just shut out someone who had once been such a significant part of her life? As Sarah continued to plead, urgency faded, replaced by a deep-seated fear of yet another ripple in the fragile peace Clara had fought so hard to maintain. Then, as if on cue, a loud bang echoed outside the truck, causing all three of them to jump. Whatever chaos was raging outside was drawing ever nearer. Clara caught a glimpse of Tom's face, the same mixture of concern and determination reflected in his eyes. He turned to her, the unspoken question hanging in the air between them. "What now?" he asked, voice low and steady. In that moment, Clara knew they had to decide. Would they trust Sarah and attempt to uncover the hidden truth, or would they seal themselves off, holding tight to their secrets in hopes of finding safety elsewhere? As another scratching noise echoed from the shadows, Clara took a deep breath. They were all on a precipice, standing on a thin line between revelation and ruin. With one choice, they could either dig deeper into the past or shut the door to what was once known. Clara held Mia close, heart racing as she prepared to face whatever lay on the other side of that decision, knowing that the next turn could forever change their lives. "Let us find out what we're really up against," she whispered, determination mingling with dread. The night had only just begun, and shadows were deepening. What truths would be revealed next? Clara took a deep breath, shaking off the fog of memories and fears. She had to focus on the present, on what lay outside the truck. The scratching continued, rhythmic and urgent, as if begging for attention. "Sarah, what do you mean they're looking for you?" Tom asked, his voice steady yet firm. He turned to face Sarah, eyes narrowed with suspicion but tinged with empathy. "I stumbled into something I shouldn't have, things I wasn't supposed to see," Sarah said, her voice quivering. "And now they're hunting me down. You have to believe me, Clara. They're dangerous." Clara's heart raced at the gravity of Sarah's words. This was not just some freak accident or wild misunderstanding, it was a threat that could shatter their lives completely. "Mommy!" Mia whimpered, her small frame shaking against Clara. She felt the warmth of her daughter's body, grounding her even as chaos threatened to engulf them. Clara squeezed Mia's shoulder and took another look at Sarah. "What did you see, Sarah?" Clara demanded, feeling the weight of expectations. If they were going to go down this path, she needed the truth, every last part of it. Sarah hesitated, glancing back toward the truck door as if expecting someone to burst in. I overheard them talking about a shipment. Something valuable, they're moving tonight," she continued, her voice trembling. "I don't know all the details, but it's bad. They're looking for any loose ends, and I guess I'm one of them now." A sense of dread crawled up Clara's spine. The scratching had begun again, louder this time, like fingernails on a chalkboard. "How do you know they'll come here?" "They have a network. They'll check everywhere, they won't rest until they find me," Sarah said, desperation spilling from her lips. Tom shifted, scanning the area outside. "We can't stay here much longer. We need a plan." Clara nodded, pressing her back against the cold metal of the truck. Her mind raced through various scenarios, weighing them in the balance of trust versus survival. She thought about Mia, her innocent face, the memories yet to be made, and how the stakes had just escalated. "Okay, Sarah," Clara said, her voice steadying. "We'll help you. But you need to give us every bit of information you have. We can't afford any surprises." "Thank you," Sarah replied, her eyes widening with relief, followed by the raw edge of anxiety. "But please, do consider what I said. If they find me here, it won't just be me at risk." Suddenly, another loud bang rattled the truck, and Clara, startled, grasped Mia's hand tighter. Tom spoke in a near whisper, "We need to get out. Now." "Where?" Clara asked, her heart racing as her mind spun with countless possibilities. "There's a garage down the street. We can hide there until it's safe, and maybe figure out what to do next." Tom's voice had shifted from uncertainty to a sort of fierce resolve. Just as they all nodded toward that tentative plan, a shadow fell across the truck, and in that moment, a sharp rap echoed against the side panel. "Quick!" Tom urged, shoving the door open just enough to reveal those waiting outside. Clara and Mia pressed deeper into the truck's dim interior while Sarah's breath hitched in her throat, fear darting across her features like lightning. Peering out, Clara made out a figure tall and broad, a flash of something metallic catching the waning light. "Who's there?" Tom called out, trying to sound authoritative but with an undercurrent of trembling fear. Silence fell. Then came the unmistakable sound of a voice, low and threatening. "Open the door. We know you're in there." Clara's heart raced. She looked between Tom and Sarah, realizing that whatever was about to happen could change everything. "What do we do? What do we do?" Mia whispered frantically, her grip tightening around Clara's hand. The world teetered on the edge of uncertainty, and deep down Clara felt a chance to reclaim her life or plunge deeper into chaos. They had to decide, now. "Stick together," Clara breathed, her resolve hardening. "Whatever happens, we face it as a family." Then, just as she felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her, the door creaked open wider and the looming figure stepped forward. What would happen next? Clara held her breath, realizing they were all about to dive into the unknown. And the truth was about to surface whether they were ready for it or not. Clara's heart thundered in her chest as the door swung open, revealing the silhouette of the figure outside. It was a man, tall and menacing, with a face shadowed by the dim light. She clutched Mia closer, feeling the small girl's rapid breaths against her own. "Open the door now," the man said again, his voice gravelly and impatient. Tom stiffened, looking back at Clara with wide, fearful eyes. There was only a split second to decide. All her instincts screamed to protect Mia, to keep them safe, but what if this man was just looking for Sarah? Or worse, what if he knew what they knew? "Tom, we can't just," Clara started to say, but he interrupted her. "Shoo," he whispered sharply, his eyes still fixed on the intruder. "We need to wait and see what he wants first." Clara's heart sank. Hiding in the truck felt impossible now, exposed and vulnerable. Despair washed over her as she thought of the dangers lurking outside, threats that had turned their lives upside down in a matter of moments. "Mia, listen to me," Clara said, forcing calm into her voice. "You need to stay very quiet, okay? Just hold on tight and do exactly what I say." Mia nodded, her eyes wide and fearful as she curled her fingers into Clara's shirt. The man outside leaned closer, the metal glinting in his hand revealing itself to be a firearm. "I know you're in there," he said again, his voice dangerously low. "You can't hide forever." Clara's eyes darted to Sarah, who was now stark white, frozen in fear. This is it, Clara thought, the gravity of the moment crashing down like a wave. They had skated too close to danger, and now that danger was crashing against them. Suddenly the man shouted, "I'll give you one last chance. Now, are you coming out, or do I have to come in?" Tom glanced back at Clara, his expression resolute. "We can't let him in. We need a plan. I'll create a distraction so you can all escape." "Are you out of your mind?" Clara whispered fiercely, panic rising. "That's too risky. It's the only way. Just trust me." Clara's heart sank. How could she trust anyone when their lives hung in the balance? But looking at Tom, who had always stood by her, she felt a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. She had to believe that they could find a way out. But before they could strategize, a loud crash echoed from the front of the truck. The man had kicked the door open, wooden splinters flying, startling Clara and everyone inside. "Get out! Now!" he yelled, stepping forward, the gun raised like a dark promise. "Run!" Tom shouted, lunging for the man. The sound of chaos erupted as a struggle ensued, and Clara's instincts kicked in. "Sarah, take Mia, and go out the back," Clara ordered, her voice a fierce command. They didn't have time to waste. Clara felt the truck shake as Tom grappled with the intruder. She pushed Sarah and Mia toward the back, urging them forward. Every second counted. "Go! Now!" Clara yelled, adrenaline flooding her veins. As they scrambled out the back door, Clara's heart raced. What if they didn't make it? What if? "Mommy!" Mia sobbed as they hit the ground, the cold gravel biting at their skin. "Just keep running," Clara cried, despair mixing with determination. Behind them, the sounds of conflict intensified, punctuated by shouts and the clash of bodies. Clara's chest tightened as she urged them forward, her eyes scanning desperately for a place to hide, but as they neared the dimly lit alley, Clara caught a glimpse of the chaos behind them. Tom and the intruder locked in a fierce struggle, a flash of the metallic gun catching the light. "Mia, we have to hurry," Clara whispered urgently, her pulse racing. But before they could reach the alley, another voice cut through the night air, and Clara froze, dread seizing her heart once more. "Stop right there. Who else was out here?" The unknown threat loomed ahead, and with it, a new layer of chaos waiting to unravel. Clara felt the darkness pressing in, her breaths coming in shallow gasps. What choice remained now? With a heart weighed down by fear, she knew time was running out, and this night was far from over. Clara's heart raced, pounding against her ribcage like a war drum. The streetlights flickered above, casting eerie shadows that danced in the alley as the new voice echoed ominously. "Stop right there." It was another man, even bigger than the first, stepping into the street's faint light. His face twisted with authority and impatience, a stark contrast to the chaos behind them. Clara's instincts screamed for her to turn back toward Tom, but panic gripped her. She had no choice but to keep moving, to protect Mia at all costs. "Mommy, I'm scared." Mia whimpered, clutching Clara's shirt tighter. "I know, baby. Just trust me. We have to keep going." Clara squeezed Mia's hand, willing herself to stay calm. She didn't have the luxury of fear. Before she could fully process their options, the second man yelled again. "You heard me. Get over here. Now." Clara's mind raced. Who were these men? What did they want? She felt a wave of desperation wash over her, every instinct telling her to find safety immediately. She had to protect Mia and Sarah, no matter the cost. "Sarah!" She called out, her voice cutting through the noise as she turned to see if her friend had followed. Just then, there was a sharp, anguished shout from behind them. "Tom!" Clara's heart dropped yet again, the pain of the sound thrumming through her body. They had to keep moving, but could they leave him? "Mommy!" Mia cried, her voice soaked with terror. "Run toward the alley, I'll catch up." Sarah urged, her eyes wide with fear but filled with determination. Clara hesitated, torn between the pull of loyalty for Tom and the overwhelming need to keep Mia safe. "Go!" Clara urged, but after a brief moment, she saw Sarah hesitating too. "Please, just run. I'll be right behind you." Mia tugged at Clara's hand. "Mommy, we can't leave him." Clara's throat tightened. "We have to survive this first, honey. Then we can help Tom." With a heavy heart, Clara nodded at Sarah, urging her forward as they turned, darting into the shadows of the alley. The damp, earthy smell of the bricks rushed to meet them as they slid behind a dumpster, hiding from the chaos. Clara's breath came in sharp gasps, the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Sarah crouched low, Mia pressed between them. "What do we do now?" she whispered, voice shaky. "I don't know," Clara admitted, feeling the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her. "If we just stay quiet, maybe they'll go away." The sounds from the street shifted. Clara could hear muffled voices, urgent and demanding, broken occasionally by the sound of struggling. Each crash and shout felt like it was burying deeper into her heart. Suddenly, an idea sparked in Clara's mind. "We need to find a phone. We should call the police." "Do you think we can get back to the truck?" Sarah asked, glancing nervously between Clara and the alley's opening. "Not now," Clara said, shaking her head, her mind weighed down with tight thoughts. "We need to wait, if we can just wait until it's safe." As the sounds began to fade, a quiet stirred in Clara's heart. A flicker of hope that maybe Tom had the situation under control, even when her own gut churned with doubt. They just had to survive the night, but as silence drifted through the alley, a chilling thought washed over her: what if Tom didn't return? The uncertainty festered inside her, twisting like a knife. Moments later, that silence shattered again. A voice called out, one that sent a shock of recognition through Clara's core. "Clara! Mia! Sarah!" It was Tom, his voice strained but unmistakable. Clara couldn't suppress her instinct to leap out. But what would she find in the darkness? "Tom!" she whispered, fear and hope colliding within her. Was this a rescue, or more danger waiting to be unleashed? She didn't know which one she would face next. Clara held her breath, dread and hope battling within her as she peered around the dumpster. "Tom!" she called softly, pulling Mia and Sarah closer. "Clara! Over here!" His voice was strained, weaving through the shadows. Relief washed over Clara, but she remained cautious. The last thing they needed was to put him in danger. "Stay back," she whispered to Sarah and Mia. "I'll check first." Clara moved carefully toward the alley's entrance, keeping low. The remnants of chaos were still echoing behind them, mixed with the distant sounds of sirens. As she stepped out cautiously, Tom came into view, his shirt rumpled, a slight bruise forming on his cheek, but he appeared unharmed. Relief swelled in her chest, nudging away some of the fear. "Thank God you're okay," Clara exclaimed, rushing towards him. "Mama! Is that him?" Mia piped up, her voice breaking through with innocent urgency. "Yes, darling, it's him." Clara held her hand up to them, signaling for quiet. She needed to plan. Tom looked at Clara, eyes serious. "Are you two all right?" "We're fine," Clara said quickly, relief flooding her as she scanned the alley. "But we need to get out of here before they realize we're missing." Tom nodded, quickly weighing their options. "I saw a way through the back of the fairgrounds. If we leave now, we might make it." "Could the men still be there?" Clara asked, hesitant despite the pull for safety. "I don't know," Tom confessed, "but I think they went after Sarah. I heard them shouting names. We need to move." "Then let us go," Clara urged, gripping Mia's hand tightly and guiding them back toward the entrance. "Stay close." As they moved cautiously, every footstep felt amplified by the night's tension. Clara could hear her heart pounding in her ears and wanted to scream for them all to be safe. The shadows enveloped them, the frayed edges of their reality unraveling with each step. What if they didn't make it? Would she ever tell Tom the truth of her past? "Focus," she coached herself. This was about survival for Mia. Nothing could come before that, not even her hidden truths. Just as the alley opened to a larger street, a figure blocked their path, a soft glow illuminating the scene. Clara's heart dropped. It was one of the men, his expression cold and menacing. "Thought you could escape," he sneered. Instinct kicked in. "Run!" Tom shouted, propelling Clara and Mia forward while he surged toward the intruder. Clara's breath caught in her throat as she yanked Mia closer, trying to shield her from the encroaching chaos. "Mama, I'm scared." Mia's voice quivered, every ounce of innocence at stake. "I know, baby. Stick with me." Clara maneuvered them through the dimly lit street, the sounds of the scuffle behind them fading away. Just as they rounded a corner, almost colliding with a group of panicked fairgoers, a loud crash echoed from behind them. Clara risked a glance over her shoulder. Tom was struggling against the man, fear etched across his face. Mia's hand slipped from Clara's grasp momentarily, just as Sarah shouted, "Clara, this way." "Follow her," Clara urged, picking up speed as she reached for Mia once again. "Tom!" she called out, but he was preoccupied with the man. Clara had to rid herself of the guilt weighing on her heart. They had to keep moving. Their escape led them to a parked car a bit run down, but the keys were still in the ignition. If they could get in, go. Clara shouted, as the three of them piled inside. "Lock the doors." "Mama, is Tom coming?" Mia sobbed, her wide eyes glistening with unfallen tears. "I'm trying to find him." "Stay in the car, please," Clara begged, heartbreaking at the thought of leaving him behind. Just then, Tom dashed towards them, the figure emerging at his heels. With a quick shove, he threw himself into the passenger seat, breathless but resolute. "Drive," he urged Clara, and instinctively she turned the key. The engine roared to life, and the tires screeched as Clara slammed the gas pedal. "Hold on," Mia shrieked, clinging to her mother's arm as they tore into the night. Clara's heart settled the slightest bit as they sped away, but fear still gripped her. Thoughts swirled as she glanced at Tom, who met her gaze with a mixture of gratitude and concern. "We need to talk about what happened," he said, voice steady. "Once we're safe," Clara urged, focusing on the road ahead but feeling the weight of secrets still pressing in on her. Mia's sweet voice broke through the tension. "Are we going home now?" Clara almost choked on her emotions. "We're going to find a place to stay. We're going to be okay." The streetlights flickered past, illuminating their route forward, each bulb echoing with the spark of hope. They were venturing into an uncertain future, but in that moment, Clara felt their bond deepen. Whatever came next, they would face it as a family. And sometimes, the hardest truths would bring them even closer together. As they drove into the darkness, Clara's mind raced with a new resolve: the time for hiding was over. They would confront the past, not just for themselves, but for the family they were forging together. Together, she whispered, and though the road was long, their journey was just beginning. And that made all the difference. Now, dear friends, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories that dive deeper into love, family, and transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the heart of this channel beating strong. Comment your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Let us uplift and inspire everyone who believes in love and second chances together.